Not sure it's at all relevant to a major problem like get married or not. Okay, let's finish off with his life and we can sing and move on. He was ambitious, as he mentions, and I'm quoting now from his autobiography. He got a letter that was sent to him while he was on the voyage of the Beagle saying they really liked his paleontological specimens. After reading this letter, I clambered over the mountains of Ascension with a bounding step and made the volcanic rocks resound under my geological hammer. All of this shows how ambitious I was, but I think that I can say with truth that in after years, though I cared in the highest degree for the opinion of such men as Lyell and Hooker, who were my friends, I did not care much about the general public. I do not mean to say that a favorable review or a large sale of my books did not please me greatly, but the pleasure was a fleeting one, and I'm sure that I have never turned 1 inch out of my course to gain fame. Well, he knew he was gaining lasting fame, so it's kind of an easy choice for him. But still, it reminds me of a story about Stephen Jay Gould. I hope none of you know him or know who I'm talking about. And it involves Ernst Mayr, the famous German-born biologist. And Stephen Jay was about to die of cancer, and he ran into a good friend of mine, a famous primatologist at Harvard, and he said to him, Gott sei Dank, dass Ernst so lang leben hast und hat gelebt, mein Buch zu sehen, because he had just finished The Foundations of Biological Thought, or some such pile of clutch, and it's a fat book. Someone gave it to me once, and I use it for these kind of exercises. Don't read it. There's nothing in it worth. So he says this. So then the same primatologist runs into Ernst Mayr. After all, Stephen Jay is delighted that Ernst has been alive to see the book. And Ernst says to him, I'm afraid there are two kinds of scientists. Those that care about the truth and those that care about their public image. I'm afraid Steve is one of the latter kind. All right. I didn't have to go out of my way to kick Stephen Jay Gould, but I did. That's my weakness. But Darwin did not do things for cheap ambition. Okay. Finally, I guess it's finally, he was sick his entire adult life. Nausea and vomiting, ever since he came back from the voyage of the Beagle. Now, some have said this was due to the psychological stress of breaking such an enormous taboo, religion, we came from Affen und so weiter, and that this psychological stress caused enough internal Sturm und Drang that he was sick all the time. Fine, that's one theory. Another theory was that he had Chagas's disease, which I didn't have the time to look up, but I remember it's transmitted by a bug they call the kissing bug because it likes to bite you on your membranes, like your lips. And Darwin was assiduously describing this bug biting his lip, as part of his journal. So that might have been the reason. But I like it also because it relates to his last words. These are his last words known. And they show to me what a loving father he was. He was vomiting and had his usual nausea just before he died. And one of his daughters, as is often the case, he had 10 children, of whom I think 7 survived into adulthood. One daughter kind of adopted him as, her role was to look after Dad. So she's right there while he's vomiting, and she says, "Oh, that terrible nausea still." And Darwin says, "It is not terrible, but it is nausea," and then fell over. So the point is, he first corrects his daughter on what would bother her heart. It is not terrible. But good scientist that he is, yes, but it is nausea. So, let's see now. I will summarize, and then we will get a chance to sing and then we'll have our Freiheit. So, in summary, he laid the foundation for all of biology. He developed the implications of this foundation in many fruitful directions. He was very critical of his own theory and with a special eye towards objections which, if verified, might disprove the theory entirely. He did not deviate from his serious purpose for reasons of cheap fame or whatnot. He concentrated on behavior, plants, animals, and humans, as I think because they were the best guide to function, which was what evolutionary logic gave him. Throughout, he was a humane, loving person, father, friend, and teacher. He had a great vision, and with that, I will end the talk today, and this is the famous last line of The Origin of Species. There is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers having been breathed into a few forms or into one, and that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed laws of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms, most beautiful and most wonderful, have been and are being evolved. I love it. Especially this have been and are being evolved. Also lassen wir jetzt Happy Birthday singen und ungefähr so, und dann werden wir anfangen, so kind of like Happy Birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Happy birthday, Charles Darwin. Happy birthday, dear Charlie. Also. This day